Are you ready to get provoked? You're listening to Can I Live, a show created to excite, ignite, and expose. Let's tune in with your host, R.W. Jones. Right. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I'm welcoming you back when I'm just coming back. How about that? So thank you guys for tuning in to the Can I Live podcast. We are really excited about tonight's topic because everybody's talking about it. And I don't know about you, but it's feeling a little creepy. It's feeling real creepy. I'm getting bad vibes. And I'm checking on Jesus and I'm like, Lord, I'm like, what's happening? So we have a panel today. We do not have anybody from the World Health Organization. We don't have any, physicians in the building. We know that this topic is very, very sensitive, so sensitive that depends on what we say, this could be banned altogether from the internet. It really could. I was reading an article recently that there was a whistleblower who was fired at Facebook for pretty much reporting that, anything that was anti-vaccine, algorithms would just be kind of tampered with and would just kind of be low. Now, I don't know the whole algorithm mix and how it works, but there's something that just doesn't feel all the way right with this. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe it's because, of the millions of people nationally across the globe who have died. Maybe we're not taking it serious enough. Maybe we should take it more serious. Maybe this is not the time. You ever heard the story with the boy who cried wolf and he kept crying wolf, and then really when the wolf appeared, no one believed him. We're so anti, distrusting of the government. We don't believe that, there's all of these Illuminati, these conspiracy theories out there, and it's just insane. And maybe this is the best time to get a vaccine. I have on that, I haven't gotten the vaccine. I don't plan to get the vaccine. I have my own reasons. And it didn't start before COVID. I stopped vaccinating my children years ago, because of how America has done and the I want to say the heinous things that have been done in the name of vaccination. So we don't have a good history. America just doesn't have the best history, particularly when it comes to people that look like me. And so today I've invited Glenn Warren back from Fathers Forever to come in because he has gotten vaccinated. So I wanted to get that perspective. Then we have Dr. Kimberly Mucktarin, who will join us to give us a spiritual perspective. She has said a couple of things to me that made me, was like, say what? And ever since she's dropped those kind of nuggets in my spirit, I can't let it go. And so I thought, why not just host a show that, talks about to be or not to be vaccinated and just gives a perspective. So you're going to hear spiritual. I think Monette is coming in with her perspective as well. Angela from Fathers Forever, she just had an experience. She's vaccinated. And so I'm going to, at this time, just kind of at least let me make sure I get my stats right, because I do think it is, in all fairness, I think we should just have the stats. And so I believe when I'm looking at the corona viruses, not globally, worldwide, there's more than 204 million cases globally and 4.31 million deaths globally. Now, in the United States, those deaths, I think, are in the 600,000. Let's see, United States. So in the United States, there have been 36 million cases, 617,000 deaths. And, like other plagues, viruses, I've just never seen it go that far. I have staff who, and friends who have gotten visits from Pfizer. Pfizer's knocking on their door, asking them, and I have gotten and heard this firsthand from more than one person, where Pfizer's actually knocking on people's doors. I don't know about you, but if Pfizer showed up at my door, I think, ultimately the first thing I would be thinking here is like crickets. I would be like, why is Pfizer at my door? Is it serious? Why my door? Pfizer ain't coming to my door. I promise you, they're not coming to my door. But then I got another close friend, staff, who received a letter, and the letter stated that as of August 23rd, if you did not receive your vaccination, if you were like non-union, you would be terminated. And I'm like, seriously? Then there's, conversations here in DC that restaurants are now denying people access to the restaurant if you don't have your vaccination. Then, what is it? We were talking to Glenn's wife. They just went on a cruise to the Bahamas, and all the vaccinated people got treated differently. Scratching my head. I wish I would pay money to go on a cruise and get treated differently. And so I'm going to ask for my panel to show their cameras, come into the live studio, please. Mr. Glenn Warren, Dr. Kimberly Mucktarin, if you will please join, and Monette Walker Brown. Can you guys join?
Okay, doing good.
Hi guys, this is Monette. I will join you guys in a second. I'm just doing some podcast admin deed. I'll join you guys in a few.
Well, here, I'm gonna do the applause. I hope Kimberly didn't run away, because this is a very, very important.
No.
Okay, great. So thank you for showing yourself. Now I might clown. When I say clown, like, I'm ready for the virus on any day. You see my little humdy, I got my little mask. I'm ready for it any day. I'm ready, whatever we got to do, I'm ready for it. On any given day, I could dress it up, I could dress it down. We're good with it. Like, this all right. We could do the mask. I was all right with the mask. But now I feel like they're taking it too far. And so I'm going to take a back seat for a second. And Glenn, I guess the moral of the question is, do you not feel like this is going too far? Do you not feel like someone's employment, how they take care of their families, should be jeopardized because they choose not to vaccinate?
That's the question for me?
Yes. Since you have vaccinated,
I have.
Do you feel like you should go that far?
Absolutely. Why? Yeah, really. I mean, over 600. How many people died? 600,000 people died.
Yeah, 617,000. I mean,
of February of last year, March, April, May, June, and even December, the numbers was through the roof because people didn't have the vaccination. I mean, it was people in New York were dying, the bodies were left in trucks. They couldn't get care because we did not have the vaccination. Look at the numbers.
Wait, say that again.
People were dying, I mean, by the thousands.
Okay.
Last December, January, February, people were dying. People in New York was dying so quickly that they had to put their bodies in transfer trucks. We did not have access to the vaccine. We didn't have it. When we got access to the vaccine, the numbers went down drastically. And now guess what? they're going back up again because people are choosing not to get. So you can argue with all the conspiracy if you want to. The fact of the matter is, look at the numbers. When people get vaccinated, the numbers go down. When people don't get vaccinated, the numbers go up. Those are the facts.
I don't know if those are the facts.
Those are
I
the
mean,
facts.
I don't know. I mean, is that the
I'm
fact
telling
that when
you.
you get vaccinated, everything goes down? We still
No.
getting more cases. Are
No.
these cases? Like,
Okay.
I don't want to be on a
Again,
rhetoric.
go back and look at when the spike of COVID hit. How many people were dying every day?
Recently, the spike of COVID most recently, has been attributed to the fact that they have become more laxed in requiring people to wear their masks. When they started rolling out, you don't have to wear your mask, this, that, whatever. Businesses have the choice to decide whether or not they want to let you wear your mask. That's when the numbers started to spike. Now that the numbers are starting to spike, we have a lot of states that are backpedaling, and now they want people to put their mask back on.
But see,
Because
that's another thing.
let's get the facts straight.
Because
Wait,
of,
let me ask you this. Let me say
because of
this. This is
because
an
of a
issue.
new variant of the coronavirus called the Delta virus.
Okay, so guess what? Delta,
And
Smelter,
the Delta numbers, the numbers now are going up because of the unvaccinated. Go back and look at the facts. The numbers are going up for people who are not vaccinated, not the people who are vaccinated. Look at that fact. The mask has something to do with it. But again, look at the numbers. People are not vaccinated. They're spiking again. They're in the hospital. People that are vaccinated, the numbers are down. Those are the facts.
Okay. So, okay. I probably am the wrong one to even host a topic like this. This is really not playing, even though I can't even help but be foolish sometimes, because it just is. Okay, fine. Numbers going up, vaccines. I don't think this is probably one of the first plagues or anything like this that I've ever kind of been through. However, I don't think out of all the plagues, America and the world is not new to plagues. Plagues have been a part of our history for as long as I can remember, read about. I Googled it on history.com. Plagues is a thing in the Bible. So we're not new to plagues and these kind of viruses and things like that.
No.
So what's interesting to me, though, is they were opening the cities back up, knowing good and well people were not vaccinated. So we got a vaccine coming down. We got all of this pressure to get vaccinated. And then you got cities opening up. Now, they could have kept us in COVID, but people were like, nah. I want to get out the house. I want a hug. I need a hug, And so it's like, what? So let's just fast forward. You open the city up. Now there's so much more cases. Like, what do you expect? You just open the city up. Now that you open it up, you want to put these limits on those that are vaccinated versus vaccinated. You should have just kept everybody in the damn house. Stay your ass in the house and then just go read a book or something so that nobody gets it versus violating freedom to choose.
Okay, so now we're doing the blame game again, because now the numbers are going up among the unvaccinated. Now it's the people's fault because they let them come out of the house. The people chose still to get unvaccinated. The numbers are going up among.
What if it wasn't because of that?
Look at the state of Florida. Look at the state of Texas. Their number is the lowest. Look how many people are getting sick again.
But is it because of the vaccination or because the mask regulations started to decrease? States started to say you didn't have to wear the mask out, and people stopped.
Because
I know in DC, they said that we didn't have to wear it out.
Because
and when I went to North Carolina, you ain't got to even wear the mask out. So is it because people choose not to get vaccinated, or is it because the states are saying you don't have to wear the mask?
No. The fact remains is we still have a choice. And now people are choosing not to get vaccinated. Back way in the day when smallpox was killing families, kids, their moms, their dads, their moms having to bury their kids. There was no vaccination. They got the vaccination that stopped that. People didn't die anymore because of the vaccination. Now the same thing. People were dying in droves. They got the vaccination. People started taking the vaccination. The numbers went down.
So tell me about, okay, so give me somebody. I done told you where Kim at. Kim, please show your camera, please. Somebody on Clubhouse is like, were you forced to be vaccinated? That's, I mean, people are, I think it's just getting out of control. Yeah, I don't think your livelihood should be threatened. I shouldn't be forced to be vaccinated. It's a choice. You chose because of how you believe, and I should choose, but then don't cut me off from my whole employment because I don't want it. I'll stay my ass in the house. I'll work from home. Oh, but you're gonna just fire me? We all just came from out of a pandemic where everybody and their mama was working from home. I had to call my goddamn bank and get somebody in her house with her dog and her kids running around there eating Cheerios. Talk about my bank account information. So you telling me that these people cannot tell them to work from home? You gonna just be terminated? That don't feel funny to you? Man, Kim.
Yes.
Feel like you said something to me and I don't want to say it, and probably people already say it. I don't want to be like, you know, because I don't want to join the conspiracy theorists out there. God knows. It's like the red pill or blue pill. It's crazy out there. But I do think one of the things I know about you, and I have always honored and trusted, because I have an ear, I can hear the voice of God. I can, my channels are clear, but you always come through with some profound, prolific nugget of some kind that just drops in my spirit. I'm like, and I got to chew on that for like days. Have you been vaccinated?
That's a HIPAA violation.
Seriously?
Yes. That's profound, right? That I have the right to plead the fifth under the HIPAA.
You have the right. You do have the right to plead the fifth
under the federal law. HIPAA says that I don't have to.
So then, okay, so let's do that. If it is my federal right to choose whether or not I even disclose it, then I'm thinking the card by itself is violating HIPAA rights, because HIPAA says my health is confidential. But now this vaccine is putting it on blast and says, no, I have to tell you if I have HIV. I have to tell you if I have cancer. I have to tell you if I was a man or a woman. I have to tell you if I had the vaccine. No, you ain't got to say you was a man or woman. You ain't got to say if you had AIDS, cancer, none of that. You ain't got to say if you was a dog. But you got to say if you got this vaccination. That don't feel kind of weird to you?
So are you saying that it's at America's will and power for us to disclose or not disclose? Is it still the arm of the government that force? Is it the government who is in control of what privacy is, or privacy that changes based on who is requiring it to be so? So again, I'm going to play a card that the law allows me to play, and then ask them not to renege on their agreement for me not to disclose.
How about that?
That's a toughie, huh?
I wish I could redact all of that stuff I just said out there, but I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I plead the fifth with my HIPAA violation. I mean, what is, how you say it? What? I plead the what?
Well, you use your federal HIPAA law. Right, absolutely. You use your federal HIPAA law to protect you, because again, you're talking about a government who, when it's convenient, protects you. But then when it's inconvenient, he unprotects you. And that's an individual right. What I hear Glenn and others say is that my individual rights can also infringe on another person's right. And when that happens, how does our government respond? When you know that you have been infected by COVID, you do not wear any mask because you have a right to do or not do so. How does the government, it's the same thing with HIV. They arrested a man in New York who had it, didn't disclose it, and was going around giving it to people. Is that not the same? Is that not biochemical warfare? Is that not domestic terrorism? What line of defense are we going to use? Or are we going to casually say, because this is COVID, we're not going to take it as serious? Or are we going to say the government has no right to infringe on my rights, and I don't care how severe the issue is, I still have a right to own my rights?
So what do you think the government is choosing when to, because you just played a card, like I figured that you would, the whole HIPAA. HIPAA is a law that says that your medical history is to be kept confidential. So how does this trump HIPAA laws? And if that is the case, the fact that it has trumped, it's not how did it trump, it has trumped. The vaccination has trumped the HIPAA laws. And so if it has trumped the HIPAA laws, now we're already in a different place. We're dealing with this is a different animal. This is not just about a damn vaccine. It can't be.
Absolutely.
It can't be.
And that is why I played the card, because most of the time people are not prepared to deal with the real reality. The real reality is you never had freedoms in the first place.
Come on now.
And it just took this issue for us to see. And I think last year, between COVID and George Floyd, America or the world got a whiff of the reality of who is in control and what is really in control. Do the laws fall when there's nothing else to hold it up? We saw January the 6th. Are we really protected in this government? What happened on the Capitol wall as they climbed and broke into the window? If you can call that a high school brawl and think that you're still protected in this country, I think you're in denial. I think we're coming to some really strong truths about what really is protection, what really is law, how far are we going to go with this right? I have a right kind of stuff. When does it infringe on other people's rights? Remember now, in 1994, the tobacco company got sued. Why? Because people were dying from secondhand smoke, not from firsthand smoke from cancer. When the secondhand smoke, people said, I'm dying from smoke in my lungs and I don't even smoke. Why? Because I was around someone who breathed on me their smoke. The tobacco company got sued. And they had to pay numerous amounts of money, even to this day, from commercials to medical coverage. The government held them accountable for firsthand smokers to blow their smoke in the face of someone else and give them cancer. How big is that same scenario not the same when you start talking about COVID? You don't wear a mask, you blow on someone, they catch COVID, just like tobacco. You catch cancer because someone blew something in your face you didn't ask to be blown. How do we handle those things? Or do we mandate masks? What is the true answer to this question? Have we become a country so full of rights till it's called?
Your phone is muted.
I'm sorry, I said, have we become a country so full of rights we've inherited death?
Well, I'm gonna do this one. I really don't.
That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful, Kim. That was a mouthful.
Always.
I
I
mean,
don't even know what to say.
that was a mouthful. If we so full of rights that, masks, we know mask is, is needed, but the numbers again did still go down, not because of the mask. Back when people were dying left and right, we would ask the government, where's the vaccination? Everybody was begging for vaccinations. They got one. It worked. The numbers start to go down. People started not dying. The hospital was open again. And then people stopped getting vaccinated. And the scientists told us, like they told us before, if we don't get a vaccine to stop this, this is what's going to happen. And they was right. And they're telling us now. unless we get these people vaccinated, this is what's going to happen. Now they're about to go another step further. There's another streak coming that's worse than the Delta virus that the vaccine may not take care of. And we're going to keep going down the same line, these same conspiracy theories, and then we're going to blame the government.
We're not even talking conspiracy theory at this point. It doesn't
Well,
even matter who, what, where, why, how. What we're talking about is at what point, like, you cannot deny. And oh my God, Kim just like, she pulled the whole Joker. You know, when you playing Uno and you got the wild card and you got when you about to say Uno and then you just put that last wild card, draw 4 on you. That's what she just did, because I'm still caught up on the HIPAA. So if you just look at the signs, I get put it like this: people dying. It's a catastrophe. It's a tragedy, a travesty. I don't know if that's a word. It sounds like I heard that somewhere before. Yes, I lost my favorite auntie in the whole wide world. I lost her to COVID. I lost another cousin. I've lost people to COVID, absolutely. And so it's definitely not anything to play with. It's not anything. So I'm okay with your choice to get vaccinated. I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is you penalizing those that don't get vaccinated. That's where I think the problem is coming in, and it feels different to the degree.
But if you're choosing not to get vaccinated, it put the other people at risk. I have a right to
wear my mask. Listen, I told you, I'm ready for the world.
One thing you got to understand as well. The people that are getting vaccinated, just because you're vaccinated doesn't mean that you can't infect other people.
No, it does not.
You can be asymptomatic. I'm gonna disclose something. I had COVID. I got COVID in January. I had it in December of last year. You know how I got sick? My dad passed away in December of last year. My family, my sisters and I, we live all over the United States. When my dad got sick initially, it wasn't due to COVID. It was because he had other health complications. He had kidney disease. He had a stroke, blah, 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 right? So we all went up to New York to visit my dad in the hospital because the prognosis wasn't good, right? So they ended up sending my dad home. While my dad was in the hospital, his roommate tested positive for COVID. My dad never did. My dad got tested for COVID one time when I was there visiting him in the hospital. I saw them test him. He came back negative. Before they sent him home on hospice for me and my siblings to take care of him, he tested negative. My dad, we took care of him in hospice for about 5 days. He passed away. When all of me and my siblings went home, one of my sisters said she wasn't feeling well. She never said anything to the rest of us. She got tested, and then she let the rest of us know that she tested positive for COVID. So the rest of us had to go and get tested, and we all ended up positive. My dad was asymptomatic, never showed signs of having COVID, nothing. Now, you can be a carrier of the COVID virus and give it to other people with the having been vaccinated or not having been vaccinated. To me, I honestly don't look. Yes, it has hit us. COVID blindsided us. So we think, right? It blindsided us. But to me, COVID falls into the same category as the flu. More people die from the flu every year than has died from COVID. Now, COVID has been taking people out. Yes. However, we don't get forced to take the flu vaccination. Why are we being bust upside the head, treated differently, being ostracized, being all these things, being discriminated against because some of us have decided not to get vaccinated? That is the problem that I have.
Yeah, I've never seen in all my life, and I'm not a whole lot of ages, but I still have never even heard where somebody was getting fired, their whole livelihood just taking away simply because they would not get vaccinated. That guy sound like the mark of the beast to me. Personally, I'm just throw it out there. Call it conspiracy, call it something, but it feels real mockish It feels mockery. It feels like we're going in mockery lane. It just doesn't feel. And come on now, we already know we've been in these last days for like Adi. Remember that word, Adi? Adi.
Mhm.
We've been saying Christ was coming back. Everybody been saying it. You read the pages, you got to know we in the book. We in the black and white. And so if it's playing out like COVID, you can't buy or sell in the market without the mark. Buy or sell. I can't go to the restaurants without it. I can't buy because I don't have no money because you just fired me. I don't know. I don't want to put that little conspiracy theory. I'm sure that's out there somewhere. But I don't know. All I'm saying is it's getting drastic. I ain't never seen pharmaceutical companies come to your house asking for did you get the shot? What the hell? That's crazy. I think that was the craziest, to be honest. Then the firing of the people, yeah. Treating people wrong on cruise ships because if that's the case, just say only vaccinated people can go on the damn cruise. But I promise you this one, it ain't got to be the mark. But as soon as they start saying things like you can't buy this, you can't enter here, you can't, only the people who got vaccinated can come on the cruise. Only the people who got vaccinated can work at these jobs.
That's not what they said though. They didn't say.
I'm not saying that they saying that now. I'm just saying this is just the start. It's just started. We don't know where we're going to be in 3 months.
This is how conspiracy starts and take legs. This is how
really?
it grows.
They don't start like that.
Yes,
that's
they do.
Already that's
how they start.
No, how they start is so is the people lying that said that Pfizer came to their door?
No, because they're trying to get people vaccinated. Because to them, that is how it's going to stop this COVID is when people get vaccinated. So yes, they're pushing the vaccination.
And I guess Mark, what is their name? The two people that what's his name? Elon and I'm going to the moon, trying to find shelter on the moon. That ain't got nothing to do with all of this just ridiculousness going on. I just feel like at the end of the day, we better quiet our house. Stay your ass in the house.
And also too, when this is the beginning. Now, when we become okay with them, trying to get us, they're trying to. I mean, they're putting buying your tickets into lotteries to win $1 million state.
They done paid people.
All kinds of stuff. When we say yes to this, when will it end? It's like opening a Pandora's box. That's really what it's like.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, even with that, I know people. I went to the doctor and my doctor asked me if I wanted to do the COVID shot. I said no. They said they're paying you $1,000. Would you like to sign up? I said no. Can somebody pay me $1,000 just for doing all this good work in the community? Can somebody give me $1,000 for that? Can somebody sign me up for the Goodwill? What they call that, Jerry Lewis Marathon? Can we sign up for the $1 million lottery to do all this good work out here? But you want to sign me up to do the vaccine? You got to be out your revenue. What you say, Nakai? They are over at the Pentagon making chips that can detect COVID-19 in your blood. Don't say it. It just feels scary. It feels scary. And
let me ask you something.
Time will tell, because come on, Kim, in here. It's 7:43, 8:10. Let's see where we are on Christmas. Let's see how much more provisions have been yanked from those that choose not to vaccinate. We'll see. And then we'll have another conversation. What you gonna say? Then we'll see if it's conspiracy-ish. Go ahead, Kim.
So I think my question is, what actually will it take for us to know whether we're not in the matrix or not? And,
I already know.
I think what is very interesting about this entire conversation is that we keep forgetting that we have an enemy called the world. And that world is full of a lot of things. However, it is always offering the power to stay alive and to survive, of which I believe every person in this human form wants to be kept alive and preserved. I don't blame any human for that. What I will say is that the trade-off sometimes can be greater than what we suspect it to be, because right now we're in survival mode. Those who are facing the vaccination, and after a while, it's going to come down to not only do we hold your life in our hands, but we hold your livelihood in our hands. And that's not a today's issue. That's been since the beginning of time. Vaccinations are
I'm sorry, we just didn't realize it until now.
right. I think now it's become more evident, or it's more crucial. The mountain is more steep, and that's how you feel the incline. You feel the burn.
Yes.
When it's slow and steady, you don't recognize what you're in. Actually, you're okay with it as long as it's convenient. The climb is nice, the climate is correct, then we don't mind the journey. This is becoming a little bit more crucial. And I do believe that we are in the end time. Now we're going to the end time, we're in the end time now. And we always have been. I think the other issues were to prepare us, because vaccinations have always been. This is not the first vaccination. Like Monette said, the flu bug has always been around. My great-grandfather died of Spanish flu, influenza, 1939. And back then, there were not enough vaccinations for Black people. And that's how the majority of our people died, because they looked at us as second-class citizens. So they didn't even offer. Which is
that feel like we got the elliptical at like 20.
Right. And I think now we're on something times steroids. That's what this looks like. This looks like something times steroids. And it's not just in America, because the Spanish flu, the influenza flu hit America. This is hitting global. And so when you see the pandemic rise, fall, or whatever, and then they say, well, we have that under control, and then another variant comes, or the Delta, or whomever they choose, whatever is chosen for this, do note, this is not by happenstance. And I don't think we should look at it as another pandemic and we'll get through it. I remember when the pandemic did come initially, I did speak to the Father, or he spoke to me, I tell you that much. And his orders was to go in the house and close the door. And he gave me the scripture that we should repent. I think that is one of the issues that America has, is that we're so busy trying to fix or maintain that we never look at what happened to get us there in the first place. And so again, did we repent from what we were supposed to learn from the very beginning? I consider this another season of judgment. I believe that I very seldom hear people talk about prayer. I hear people talk about vaccinations, which is almost a very disillusioned type of mentality that the government is going to fix us. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with their vaccinations. I have a problem with us being codependent on the government on any level, because the same government that feeds you can also enslave you. The same government that can release you can also incarcerate you. So don't think for a moment that anything that this is a trade-off. This is a trade-off of some sort. And though, yes, what is life at this point? And I think that's something that we're really going to have to define. Because I tend to believe that there may be another different definition for those who are in Christ. And I think we need to start pressing into it. Because I think at some point it's going to come a time where the definitions that we used to know will no longer be.
True. That's and the reason why we even entertain these conversations, Can I Live as a faith-based organization. I audibly spoken to me through the Father. So I don't have no plan of my own. I will not take this organization and act like I know exactly all that God has for us and where we will go. Can I live is an expression that's saying, can I, not just me as a Black woman, can God live in a people without being hindered or obstructed? If I and my religious beliefs or my faith beliefs, whatever you want to call it, if I just choose not to accept this vaccine, do not penalize me for doing that. do not restrict access to things like my employment, my livelihood. I think we went too far. Now, I ain't gonna say we went too far. We're going exactly where it's going to go.
So what
But I
happened?
need us to just wake up. Like what Kim said, for any of you who missed it, it's not like this happening is new. This is nothing new. It's just, it feels more like as that elevation goes up, you feel the burn a little more, because that's just where the, you know, in those end days, that incline just gets a little steeper. And it's just, listen.
I got a question. What was leprosy in the Bible?
Hold on, I know it. Leprosy.
It was a disease, right? And if you
Yeah.
had that disease, you had to wrap your face. You couldn't come to the city. You was outside the city, and if you came close to anybody, you had to yell unclean. Were they not isolated? Because they had a very contagious disease. So they put them outside the city. There were certain places you couldn't come if you had leprosy. So it's the same thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Now, COVID is not physically that you can see it, but the same principle is if you have COVID, you can kill people. Your body may be asymptomatic, and you might not have the same effect. Somebody else get it and they die, and you're a carrier. So they're saying this: if you contact with this, isolate yourself that you don't infect others. Thank God that you survived the infection, but the next person that may get infected may not survive that.
So here's play it out. You know, the whole leprosy thing. But let's play it out. I go today. I could be asymptomatic. I'm going and I go and, you know, tomorrow I get the vaccine, right? But I've been carrying it. I don't even think it's about the vaccine. I don't think this is about what's in the little bottle over here, like right
It's
here.
not,
I don't think this conversation and what we're talking about is about this. Like I have,
let me say, it's not for you. For you, it's not about the vaccine. For a lot of people, it is about the vaccine because the vaccine are stopping people from getting infected. You can't argue with that.
I don't know. I don't know. But guess what? Well, like Nakaya said, America chose to keep the borders open and allow the virus in. So we have the choice to say what goes in our body without being reprimanded. We should, Nakaya. That's the way it should work out that way.
So let's just make a little clarification. The vaccine does not stop you from contracting COVID.
No, it does
It
not.
only makes it such that just like when you get the flu vaccine doesn't stop you from getting the flu. It only makes it such that if you do get it, it's not as bad. So just because you got the vaccination doesn't mean that you can't contract.
We're not
Hey, you acting like we out here like the Walking Dead, about to bite your neck and you're gonna turn into a zombie.
But see, my thing is, let's go back to the Bahamas cruise, right? That you guys went on, right? Everybody had to get tested when you went on there, right?
Yes.
Then they determine when you get on there whether you have COVID or not, right? Now, I don't understand why they would make a club and have different eating areas. If they've already determined that you don't have COVID, why would they separate the vaccinated people from the unvaccinated people if you've already determined that you do not have COVID? Because if you come on there and you have COVID, they're not even letting you on that shit. So that part, like that separation, ostracizing
That's
you.
a part of a strategy, Monet, because I think if you can make people, and I think personally, it could be just a strategy to make people
They don't even do
not
that.
vaccinated to be uncomfortable so that they can get vaccinated.
Listen, they don't even do that in our schools. I substitute teach for a school in Virginia. I live in Virginia, right? You cannot even discipline the children, especially the small ones, the kindergartner, the pre. You can unless they are doing something that is that will harm the other children, like maybe throwing a chair or throwing a tantrum or something, you can't even separate them out from the rest of the kids because it's considered harmful emotionally and mentally to small children. But it's okay to, because we're adults.
So let me ask you this.
To me,
Remember
that
you were
all
telling
falls
me-
into the same kind of.
What was you saying about the scholarship? The guy, the young man with the scholarship who may lose his scholarship.
Oh, I was saying that he is in college on a scholarship, right? He plays in a band, right? The band goes to competitions, they travel to other colleges, other states, blah, 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 right? And they gave them the option to either get the vaccination or they can't be in the band because of the logistical hubbub they would have to go through every time they traveled somewhere else, getting the kids that are not vaccinated tested, waiting for results, just so they could be okay to go ahead and perform in this competition or whatever, was more than they wanted to be bothered with, and was I guess maybe financially it will cost too much. But how do you now, this child and this person, this young man is on a scholarship to go to college, a band scholarship to go to college. So now he has to decide whether he can pay for his education or not pay for his education because of the vaccine. That's a difficult place
That is
for a
ridiculous.
young person to have. That's
That
a hard
is
decision.
ridiculous.
Why is that ridiculous?
Because I said so.
But they're not making him get the vaccine.
They're not making him, but what they're saying is if
But the
you don't
consequences-
get the vaccine, you
Is that
can't be
because
on the band and
there's
you can't go on
consequences?
competition. And he
Is that
cannot
because-
go to school if he doesn't have the scholarship.
Because
So
there
he
are
has to make this
There are
decision.
consequences to our decisions. And he knows the decision is, if I don't take this vaccine, I can't go because of the risk I might put other people in. If he chooses not to do it, that's his choice. He faced the consequences.
This is order. This is out of order.
It's not out of order.
I got my
It's
gown.
not out of, there's a consequence to our behavior.
Insane.
And
Somebody-
you know the
But
consequences.
Glenn, we're talking about, listen, when this student started school,
It doesn't matter if he's 90 years old. His
You
age
gonna put the boy out of college? The boy's
Basically,
It's got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with his choice. He chose not to be the
I'm
vaccine.
gonna go.
when he started school,
But
there
they
was no
changed it.
COVID.
That's
When he
okay.
started school, there was no COVID.
Things changed.
He
COVID changed.
got his scholarship for
Yeah.
4 years to go to college.
Yes.
Now
Out of-
COVID has come.
Wait.
Now
Okay.
you're telling him
okay.
he's gonna lose his scholarship if he don't take this daggone vaccine.
because he made a
I need
choice
order.
not to take the vaccine.
It's
And
okay.
the consequences of not taking the vaccine is losing his scholarship. That's his choice. But when he chooses that, he chooses the consequences too.
So my question, I do have a question.
Gail,
I can't.
sorry, go.
I can't.
Go ahead, Kim.
This is stressful.
Go ahead, Kim.
I'm not talking about this no more.
Why
I'm
is
gonna
it
go in
stressful?
my room. I'm gonna go and me and Jesus. I'm gonna just stay my ass in the house. I'm just not going out the house. Why? Thank God I've always had an internet business. I can run my business online. I don't fool in these streets. You ain't gonna see me out here in these streets, without my get up. You're just not. I hate wearing it, so I just stay home. Like, just stay home. Order Uber Eats and just call it a day. I mean, it's just too much. People want their day. People mad, they can't, they tired of sitting in the house, and then now it's time to go out. You mad because you can't wear the mask. I just feel like it just feels real wrong in my spirit, man. It just don't feel right. What you gonna say, Kim? Because my spirit, man, is just kind of like.
Well, here's what I would say is that I don't think anything that's happening to us in this time or this time period or dispensation is what you would say a surprise. I think is all in the timing and the dispensation that we're in. So I don't think it's alarming at all. What I do know is that life is full of choices, and there's either the right choice or the wrong choice. And let me say, there's either a good and an evil, and believe it or not, they both come off the same tree. So I won't penalize either one. What I will say is this, is that because it comes off the same tree, please remember that at some point, he will not be the only one who will be affected by the choice that he made, which means that the burden will now have to fall on the rest of his country to decide what to do with him. And when you have so many people making that same decision, either you will pay for his choice, or you will suffer the consequences of not changing what needs to be changed in the time that it was given to you. So know that there will be scores of people who will not take the shot or be vaccinated, and they will stay at home. They won't go out. They won't receive the assistance that we so-called need, and those numbers will rise too. And when they do, will the world be ready to take the backlash as to what that looks like? Because it is going to come down to choice. And may the best human win. Now, is that going to be the superhuman or the non-superhuman? Because when you can't force people to do what you think they should do, you will be forced to deal with it one way or the other.
So what you're saying is, despite of our choice, there still is not a consequence for the choice, but there still is a, how do you say, there's still a recourse, or there still is going to be
it's a consequence. Consequence doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Right. You render a decision, and that decision will then render the next
Absolutely.
decision.
It will. And it will force us to redefine how we deal with solutions, how we legislate solutions, even how you define people. Because I really do believe that there's going to become, if not now, another definition that goes with those who do or do not. And I'll say why I believe that. As an English teacher and one who understands law comes with a remedy or a theory, so to speak. So you can handle people. And once they can define, once they can take into consideration how to either separate or redefine how they handle, then they also have to redefine who it is they're targeting and the way they treat a certain population. What does that look like? And either it's going to wait to the good, because to me, I don't want to say all things are good, but all things work out for the good. And either we'll increase in things that are more spiritual as we depend on more things spiritual, or we'll fall back into perdition. And I know I'm talking a little bit out of retrospect, but let me say this. The decision has already been made. We just have to walk it out.
Yeah. I believe that. I just want my choice to be respected. Just like we have to respect everybody else's choice. If you are male and you want to be a female, we have to respect that choice, and we should respect that choice without hindrance, without discrimination, bias, without any.
Who said that? Who said that?
Who said that we should do that?
Who said that I have to respect your choice?
The freedom to choose.
Wait a minute. Who gave you freedom to who gave you freedom to choose?
God did.
Is your choice my choice though?
No, my choice is my choice. He said, I put before you life and death.
Oh no. Forget what God said. Your choice is your choice. My choice is my choice. Your choice is no more important than my choice. Exactly. I'm going to leave God out of this. Your choice is to make the choice to choose whether or not you should not, want to, or want not to take a vaccination for whatever reason you chose. My choice is to say, if you cough on me with no mask, I have the choice to blow you away. That's my choice. We all have choices.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not saying that.
Wait a minute, hold on. This is not about right or wrong. It's just the fact that we all have choices. And some choices are not as, they're not as cute or acceptable to others as they are to us. And that is the problem. The problem is that we're all making choices that fit our own desires. But there's only one right choice.
What's the right choice?
I don't know. You tell me. Because if you knew the right choice and I knew the right choice, we wouldn't be on this show. We would just do what's right. Anybody know what's right to do, or do you need a whole discussion?
Where's the crickets, Raquel? Because you look like crickets.
I got the crickets. The crickets is right there. Because I know.
Kaya says being ethical is right, is what is right. But then we get into the.
So I'm not going to legislate on,
ethical.
but I'm not going to legislate for anybody's. Truth don't need convincing. Truth is something you settle in yourself, whether you like it or you don't. When I say truth is truth, I don't get a chance to say what I like or what I feel. Like, this is how I feel. This is not about how I feel. This is not how I was raised. It's not about right. It's just right. Right is not to be legislated. Like, right is not even to be argued, even reasoned. Right is just right.
But then I guess it would be determined upon who's right.
No.
What right do you believe?
Well, guess what? At the end of the day, we will find out who was right.
There's a lot of people that think they're right.
No, there's a lot of people who are just full of themselves.
That's true too. That's true too. Oh my gosh, where is my crickets? Ain't enough daggone crickets. Is this not enough for crickets?
And when you live in a country that tells you that everybody has a right, they start out with the Constitution with, you have a right, you have a right, you have a right. The Bible says, thou shalt not kill. And the Second Amendment tells you, you have a right to bear arms. And the only thing that you can do with the arms is to kill. So you always have a right. In the word, you don't have a right. So somebody's going to negotiate that. Then you take that back to the negotiators. I'm only saying which law has the highest standard and which one will you go by. So again, this is not about vaccination.
We all have rights, but sometimes we can lose that right. You have a right to bear arms, but if you're a felon, you don't have that right anymore.
Well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
I may not agree with it, but that's the law.
I don't go by that law.
Well, I mean, but a felon can. If a felon get caught with another weapon, he's gonna make the prison.
Well, that's the problem. Who labeled him a felon?
Well, okay, that's debatable. Whether he robbed or whatever he did, he committed a crime and was convicted of it. The evidence shows that he did. We're not talking about people who evidence didn't. We actually talk about people who actually committed the crime. They did rob the store. There was no conspiracy. It wasn't the white man.
What about the man who robbed the whole Indians of the whole America?
Okay. But my point is, if a man did go out and take a knife and stab somebody, he committed a crime. He's a felon. The law says a felon don't have a right now to bear arms.
Right, but if he served his time, his rights should be restored.
Well,
listen, I think what Kim is saying that we're coming into a place. What she's saying is we're coming into a place where you'll see whose law trumps what. We live in mostly by these laws of the land, but there is a law that shall prevail higher. But everybody doesn't live by that law. But we'll see what law trumps higher.
And my right and your right is two different things. You might think you're right about this. So even what we think is right, you may think it's right. I may not think that's right. I mean, we have this debate about the vaccine. We all have I think we all have a right to believe we're right. And I think my right is right, and you'll think your right is right. So what's right for you is not necessarily right for me. So what is right?
I think where it says, let God be true, every man a lie. So I just
Good
be
job.
lie.
And those are things, again, that I cannot teach. They have to be revealed. Again, it is very difficult for certain things, because if we knew them already, we would already be doing them. Obviously, there are certain things that just have to be revealed. And we just pray God's grace on all of us as we make the decisions that we feel most necessary, and give each other grace as we do.
And on that,
All right, I'm about to say, let's end it right there.
we're gonna end it.
You just sewed it up right
End
there.
it.
Sewed it up.
End it
The
right
grace,
here.
Lord. We need the grace.
'Cause I'm gonna give the
Great.
panel a
All
nice
of it.
round of applause.
Yay.
Great debate, y'all. Great debate.
Yes.
I love debating y'all.
You did.
I'm about to say, if you don't get anything else from this show, you're gonna get a good debate.
Amen.
From
Say
all
it,
sides. And that
Monique,
was
that's
really
a
good.
disclaimer. Monette, that's a disclaimer, dear. Right?
Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I mean, I'm sure this is not the first time. It's the first time that we're doing it. I heard a lot of everybody else weighing in, and everything sounded so poopsy. It just sound, what's Adam Sandler's favorite word in Jack and Jill's? Like Madoki. It just sounded so crazy. And so I thought I would invite this panel on here. While we don't necessarily have, all of these, accolades that the world's people have in front of you, pushing that all this information do, we all have these perspectives that we think are, valid enough to be heard. I think everything that was said today, you're gonna have so many people that probably believe each one of ours. You got some that's gonna believe like Glenn, Kim, Monette, myself. And so we'll see where we are in probably 60 days. I hope we don't have to come back before then, for 60 days. But we're back tomorrow. Tomorrow we listen. But real talk, if you didn't hear anything, I think this is a time to pray. If you don't hear anything else, pray. Go into your closet, go into your bedroom, go into your house, close the door, turn off the phones, turn off the TV, turn off everything, and just be silent. Clear out your heart, forgive, repent for anything that you may have, known and unknown. Just get in, close in. Pray for our nation. Pray for those in authority. Pray for those. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people mourn. Pray for those who are in these seats of authority. If we don't do anything else, let us do that. And then, in that prayer, pray that, in his grace, we have clarity, where you make the best decision based on all the information, based on how you are led to make that decision. And until next week, we'll be back. Don't know what we're talking about just yet, but I do thank you for sharing me with your time.
Thank you, Nakaya. We have two participants in our audience here on Zoom.
Absolutely. Nakaya and Intrasol, we would love to hear more about it. As you guys are keeping track of what's happening, email podcast@canilive.org. Go on YouTube, like us, subscribe to the channel. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. I think we have an Instagram.
We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
All of them.
Yeah, everything. Can I Live podcast, The Billionaire, Roby. Congratulations. Raquel, can you mention Roby? Did you just mention Roby real quick?
Yeah, we had, so while we didn't have our podcast like 2 weeks ago,
and last week.
And last week. Well, we were preparing for our 4th Piranha pitch. We had comedian Rodney Grant here from Def Comedy Jam. He is also the DC mayoral candidate. But we had some awesome entrepreneurs. Can I Live? We run an incubator for under-resourced entrepreneurs here in the district. We're so happy as of October, we'll be going national so that everybody with $1 and a dream can access a team that can burst your vision into reality. We're really big on helping you manifest what God has given. And it's ideal because, hey, you know, God gives us these dreams and these visions, but everybody can't even manifest them because they can't even afford to pay for a business license, or they can't even afford to pay for a coach. Everything costs so much. You know, it's absurd. And I think, you know, maybe, ain't no maybe, we will come to a place where we're gonna have to choose. You're gonna serve God or you're gonna serve money. And it's gonna come down to that.
Here it comes.
I don't care. Here it comes. It's gonna come right down to that. Who is your God?
Who
And
is
just know that God will provide. If you shaking in the boots in the corner because you just really don't want to get this vaccine, but they're gonna fire you, you better go trust God. You better go out there and hello, don't take no vaccine just because they're gonna fire you and your income gonna be gone. I'm gonna need to go trust God. Fast, we gonna be eating crackers, 1 cracker a day, whatever it takes. Like, I don't know. Plant your own food. Been trying to do that. I ain't got that green thumb. Monette got that green thumb. I'm gonna come get some cucumbers.
Yes.
I'm gonna be
That's a
2
great
pounds
thumb,
by the
right?
time this is all over. I'll be 2 pounds coming into the promised land. Like, I
You're silly, out of
made
control.
2 pounds.
I can't. Too bad.
Oh, that's
Please.
2 pounds.
Can somebody
promise
say,
me.
where's that
cucumber
button?
breath.
What'd you say?
With cucumber breath. I made it,
Summer
Lord.
best. I made it. 2
I made
pounds.
it. I made it.
All right, you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. You guys have a great evening. Love you.
Peace out.
All right.
Have a good one. Bye.
2 pounds.
Two. Cute.